Just exposed to drugs, exposed to the violence, and just seeing this every single day.
Jermaine Wilson knew all too well the lifestyle of drug dealers. Growing up in the streets of a poor Leavenworth, Kansas neighborhood with little hope of a future, he even dreamed of becoming one.
We would see these drug dealers, they're pulling out wads of money, exciting, it looked thrilling, and I said, man, I want what he got.
To Jermaine, that also meant having the respect of others, something he never had.
People always make fun of me, and I ended up getting the name too short, too fat, too ugly, and I always wanted to fit in.
But there was one person who made Jermaine feel safe and accepted.
My brother he was my protector. He was my role model, and I felt like he could not do any wrong in my life, and I wanted to be just like him.
Which not only meant hanging out with his brother and his friends, but also doing drugs and committing small crimes.
Because my brother was constantly doing it, everybody else was doing it, I didn't want to be like the outcast and not do it.
Eventually, his brother wound up in juvenile detention for theft. But 12-year-old Jermaine continued on, spending the next 3 years doing drugs, getting into fights, and stealing. Then at 15, he also landed in juvenile detention. What started as a 2-year sentence turned into 4 after the angry teenager tried to escape.
I felt like the system had played me, and I truly felt like that I was going to have to make up for lost time. I learned more about drugs being incarcerated than I've ever had. And I told myself, I said, you know what? When I get out here, I know how to make money, and I'm going to make it quickly, and everybody's going to know exactly who I am.
Once released and back home, Jermaine set his plan in motion. Using the skills and connections he made in prison, he quickly became one of the leading drug dealers in his area.
I seen how quickly the money came, and I seen, how the customers would come back, and just the level of respect that they showed me. And yes, it did give me a sense of power.
But there were some things that came with money and status he didn't count on.
Over a period of time, paranoia really was setting in on me. So I started, heavily using ecstasy pills to help me cope with what I was going through. Worried, not knowing if I was going to get robbed, not knowing if I was going to get busted by the cops.
Those feelings only got worse after his longtime girlfriend gave birth to his son, Jermaine Jr.
And I felt like it was just a matter of time before I end up getting caught and losing everything. I was just trying to drown out this feeling. I would just talk to myself. I said, man, I need something different. Like, this is killing me.
In 2008, only 2 years after being released, he was back in prison, arrested for drug possession. Jermaine realized the status and power he thought he enjoyed had been a lie.
I knew deep down inside of my heart that, people didn't care about me. They cared about the material things that I had. I felt like these were the things that defined who I was. But once I lost all of those things, I was broken.
9 months into his sentence, Jermaine was considering taking his own life when he remembered a time in his childhood.
And I remember, my mom used to make us go to church, and we were sitting in Sunday school. And I always used to hear about a man named Jesus, how he forgives, how he gives second chances, how he restores and gives hope. And these stories started coming to my mind as I'm sitting on my prison floor, crying, bawling out, not knowing what's going to happen for me. I want something different. I need help. And I said, God, if you truly are real, please forgive me of my sins. Give me another chance for me to be with my family. Help me to become me. Help me to become fulfilled, because I don't want to continue to live this lifestyle anymore. And when I cried out to God, that's when, first time in my life, I felt free. That's when I started feeling peace. And I just felt the love and the compassion that came from Jesus just being inside of my heart. And that's when I knew that, life was going to be different for me.
Since his release in 2010, Jermaine has been ministering to inmates and people in his community as an ordained pastor. Now married to his girlfriend Jessica, this one-time drug dealer and convict has risen to new heights as the mayor of Leavenworth, Kansas.
So as I was going through my journey, searching throughout life, I was looking for happiness and joy and peace, through all these material things. The fulfillment that I needed, Christ gave to me. The acceptance that I needed, Christ gave to me. The joy, the hope, the peace, and most of all, the forgiveness Christ gave to me. And that's why I'm here today.